In the forests of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, a father and his brave young companion set out to build a primitive shelter. Armed with a hatchet, a chainsaw, and an impressive ability to ignore 57 years of medical advice.
It was supposed to be a simple throwback to my childhood. Blazing a trail, building a fort, making memories with my stepdaughter Jane. But Mother Nature and my 57-year-old spine had other plans.
That looks a lot more solid.
Bet. I like this. Yeah.
And there it is, the highest form of praise from the next generation. She utters the sacred word, bet. In Gen Z vernacular, this translates loosely to, "This build slaps," which in ancient terms means he did a good job.
Well, you seen Jane out here helping me earlier. My official wilderness assistant for the day. Yeah, this is all brand new for her. Ugh. And the mosquitoes, our tour guides, are extremely friendly. I could tell she was both very excited about this and very nervous. I mean, it was the first time building a shelter in a woods with a storm rolling in. Yeah, that's a lot. But anyway, she did awesome. She got her hands dirty. She picked out the spot, and now she's wisely heading in for higher ground before the rain lets loose. Well, we must press on. I am proud of her, and I highly doubt this is the last time her and I will do something like this together. And who knows, she may even be brave enough to come back out a little bit later. Probably after it's done.
Having completed her duties as official wilderness apprentice, young Jane embarked on a solo expedition back to base camp, a 40-foot mobile stronghold nestled at the forest's edge. Alone, she traversed the rugged trail with nothing but her courage, a hatchet, and an overactive imagination filled with bears, cougars, and probably something from a Discovery Channel documentary. It was a rite of passage, and she crushed it. Moments later, to the surprise of our subject, seen here questioning the structural integrity of several questionable logs, Jane returned. Not as a trainee, but as the camera crew. She filmed, she chopped, she offered unsolicited design advice, and then food arrived. A maternal figure bearing sustenance reclaimed her, and the call of Pizza Hut proved stronger than the call of adventure. Still, her bravery, brief though it may have been, has earned her a spot in the archives of legendary forest folk. And the subject? He presses on, motivated by determination, damp socks, and the echo of her earlier enthusiasm.
Well, I had Jane back for a minute anyway. Her mom just returned with food. So yeah, food took over my need to stay dry. I'm okay with that. But I want to try to get the frame structure of this done. But I need a lot more engineering to get this stabilized. A few more logs that'll get this thing rock solid. But we'll get there.
And so, with his young assistant having bravely trekked solo back to the comforts of a 40-foot rolling fortress, the elder Homo sapien fortifex improvisatus finds himself alone in the woods. Again. Now begins the delicate dance of re-engineering, a noble term for a noble art, winging it with sticks. But this is no mere exercise in backwoods carpentry. This effort carries greater weight, the sacred duty to impress one's child. In the off chance she returns before it collapses. Because deep down, beyond the mosquitoes and mild anxiety, a spark has caught flame. Fueled by Zach Fowler and the Outdoor Boys, fanned by Dad, and tempered by pepperoni pizza.
Jane and I have been talking about a project like this for years. Just the two of us building something out here for fun. Well, She's back at the camper now, safe, cool, and kicked back with a fan in her face. But I'm still out here, swinging the saw, trying to finish what we started. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Because this little shelter, it's more than just sticks and paracord. It's a memory. And I want her to know her ideas matter. That the courage out here meant something. So yeah, I'll keep building.
He labours alone now, but not without purpose, for the fort is half hers. And every log he places carries the weight of her wild ideas, and his pride in them. Deep in the remote northern wilds, the elder male, Homo sapien fortis midlife crisisus, enters a rare state of zen. With aching joints and a stubborn glint in his eye, he drags more timber to reinforce the sacred family fort, a structure born not of blueprints but of bonding. Though the junior genetic non-match, codenamed Jane, has retreated to the camper, heroically guarding the last slice of pepperoni, her spirit lingers in every stick and lash of paracord. Enter the mate, Homo sapien, she who organiseth. Wielding a garden hoe like a seasoned archaeologist, she begins clearing the forest floor. Meanwhile, the elder male gestures dramatically at the lean-to's low clearance, unaware that no one is listening. It is a moment of silent teamwork, one tidying, the other posturing, both contributing in their own peculiar way. And thus the structure rises, not just as shelter, but as a tribute to family, fortitude and fan-powered cooling systems.
Okay, so it turns out I was getting a little dehydrated. I didn't even realize it. I was out here working and getting slower and slower, wondering why I felt like a 90-year-old trying to wrestle a porcupine. Then, bam, like a wilderness angel, my wife shows up with a bottle of water. So yeah, maybe this isn't a full-blown solo survival challenge. So maybe it's more of a semi-supervised backwoods hydration incident. It's been over 40 years since I've done this. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. But now that I'm hydrated, it's time to go back to work. Cheers to the life.
Fueled by momentum, mild panic, and a questionable amount of electrolytes, he charges forward. The Homo sapien getter Donus has entered a rare psychological state known as productive stubbornness. Corner braces are locked in. Structural integrity, theoretical, confidence, unshakable. Every timber is placed with the urgency of a man racing both the incoming storm and the haunting memory of nearly becoming jerky in the sun. This is no longer just a shelter, it is a tribute to fatherhood, to fort building, to the sacred art of winging it with sticks, and possibly to overcompensating. But let's not dwell, the storm is coming. With each log added to the roof, the primitive structure inches closer to adequacy. Our subject takes a seat beneath it, testing the clearance not with a tape measure but with his own cranium. A bold method, a deeply personal one. More logs follow in quick succession. A rhythm emerges. Lift, place, repeat. A ritual as old as weekend projects and stubborn optimism. And then, in the distance, a familiar figure appears. Not charging in with dramatic urgency, but watching, evaluating, likely deciding if this whole thing qualifies as a medical risk. Moments later, the camera captures the offering. 3 bottles of water, neatly arranged like holy relics on the log bench. She has spoken. Hydrate or perish.
Okay, here's where we're at. I've got the 4 corner posts up. There's 2. Yeah. Don't look too close at this post here, but believe me, it's solid. And then there's the 4th post right there. I've got most of my roof beams in. Still gonna get a few more. And this log bench that's holding up surprisingly well. It's just tall enough that I don't whack my head every time I sit in here. It does get my hat a little bit, and that's already a win in my book. Yeah, according to the last radar, I got maybe 2 hours of good weather left. So yeah, the crunch is on. But I'm not skipping breaks anymore. That first wave of dehydration schooled me. I may be building this with sticks and sweat, but it's going to take water and willpower to finish it.
With hydration restored and motivation high, our subject marches back into the forest. His mission, roof logs. His strategy, denial. Observe the confident gait, the purposeful dragging. The determined squint of a man who insists he's still got it. But something's changed. A subtle shift in the biomechanics. The bend is shallower. The pace fractionally slower. Scientists might call this the preamble to regret. Yet he carries on, hauling logs like a determined pack mule with a U-tube deadline. Back at the structure, he hoists another log into place, a feat of brute willpower and mild grunting. The roof nears completion, the storm inches closer, and deep within his thoracic region, an ancient betrayal begins to stir.
Well, this didn't go as I imagined. I came out here to relive part of my youth, to build something with my hands and to challenge myself. Until my back reminded me it's not 1985 anymore. One wrong pull on that dead tree that got hung up. And that's what it took to shut me down. So no, I'm not finishing the shelter today, and I'm not sleeping in the shelter tonight. But I'm not going to call this a failure. This is just part of the story. Chapter I didn't expect. I've learned a lot over the years about pushing through, about healing, and about when saying enough. So today I'm listening to that voice. I'm packing it in and heading back to the camper. And I will be back. Maybe next time just knowing my limits. And getting a little extra help. All right, this is future me coming back after a bit of reflection. I want to give you a little bit of a backstory, just to explain why this moment out in the woods hit a little harder than I expected.
Before we continue, a brief warning for the squeamish. The next segment contains an image of surgical staples and medical tubing. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. Now let's peel back the curtain, quite literally.
Back in 2014, I was working as a prison RN when I seriously injured my spine during a patient transfer. That moment led to 4 surgeries, and a hard truth from my surgeon that I'd never return to bedside nursing the way I once had. I never let that define me. But I've carried limitations ever since. And rushing like I used to, I forgot for a minute. Just long enough for my body to remind me I'm not bulletproof. You know, to be honest with you, I was going to scrap this whole video. I mean, who wants to watch a half-built shelter and a guy hobbling around in the woods? But then I realized this is the real story. Not everything goes as planned. And not every challenge ends up with a fire crackling and a dramatic sunrise. Sometimes the biggest win is knowing when to call it.
And so the Homo sapien Getadonius limps into the distance, battered but not beaten. The shelter may be unfinished, But the story is not. He will return. Hopefully with ibuprofen, reinforcements and far fewer questionable decisions.